Hello and welcome. This is Nate Williams with Synergy Sports, and today I'll be going over how to create your own custom tagging template from scratch. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that Synergy does have some preset custom tagging templates already available that you can go ahead and use. If you open up your editor and select the Templates tab at the very top of the page, you can come in here and type in the word Synergy, and a bunch of preset tagging templates should pop up. So let's go over here and select some of these. First one, we have our practice one. It should open up in a different window, but as you can see, if I just expand this, I can see the team name, sort of drills, and other stuff attributed to this specific Synergy preset tagging template. If I go over here and select the next one, we'll see one for Scrimmage. Let me drag this over here to our window. And the same goes for our roster. And so these are ones that you can go ahead and select and use for your own within the Synergy editor. Now, for whatever reason, let's say that you did not like those preset tagging templates, or you simply just wanted to come in here and create your own. We can go ahead and do that by selecting the plus button at the very top of the editor. Once you select the plus button, we can come over here and select new tagging template. I'm just going to come over here and say new template, scratch, and now select OK. This will open up my preset tagging template right over here. Or excuse me, not a preset, just a blank template with a blank canvas. And now I'm ready to come in here and draw out my own specific tagging template. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up the window and I'm going to start by selecting the shell button. I'm going to draw a pretty big shell over here. And now I'm going to actually draw specific labels within that specific shell. So let's go over here and draw a couple of these. And the nice thing about this, if you just select Control C and then Control V, you can come over here and do the same exact shape and size. So let's just go ahead and do that a couple more times. Let's expand my shell here a little bit. Or do the same thing. Now let's get our last row here. Now these will be players momentarily, but as you can see, I have now drawn my specific labels within the shell. Next, let's go ahead and draw our auto buttons on here. And now I'm going to expand my shell button again, just to give myself a little bit more room here. And I can actually make this any smaller or larger, however I would like. But let's go over here and draw my buttons right here. And I'm going to do 12. So let's make these a little bit smaller. Again, I'm just going to do Control C and Control V. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, as you can see, I have my auto button, multiple of them, 12 to be exact, drawn within my shell. Lastly, let's go ahead and draw our manual buttons. And I'm going to do 4 in here and do Control C, Control V. And now I have my manual buttons drawn within the shell as well. Now, just to recap, I drew all of my specific labels, 16 of them to be exact, because these are going to be my specific players within my shell. I drew out 12 auto buttons. These are going to be my specific end results or events that happen. So, for example, a 2-point field goal make or a miss, 3-point field goal make or a miss, free throw, block, steal, you name it. Anything that has a specific event, that is going to be my auto buttons. Lastly, my manual buttons are going to be for specific drills. So if a manual button is used primarily for when an offensive or defensive possession You just don't know when it's going to start or end. So these are great for specific drills, play calls, and I'm going to be using that for specific drills from our manual buttons here today. So let's go ahead and start from the bottom up. So I'm going to actually just make this a little bit smaller, and I'm going to make these specific drills. So let's go over here and select our manual button here. Bring the window open from the right side, select tags, add tags, and again, offensive or defensive possessions. Let's go over here, label this as offense. And I'm actually going to use a specific user tag within this. So let's go over here and label this as for a specific drill. Maybe let's do some weave shooting for an offensive one. Next one, we could do another offensive one, user tag. Let's use maybe something like a 5-on-4 shooting. Add another one here, another drill. Let's do defense, maybe defensive fundies. Right there, add that. And then lastly, maybe you have something just like defensive games. Could be a short little drill. So let me just make sure. See, I didn't make this as a play call. Don't want to do that. Want to make sure it's a user tag. Fundies. Should be good. Let me just expand this. And now, as you can see, I have my specific drills built within the specific shell from our manual buttons. Next, let's go ahead and add some tags to our specific auto button. So let's go over here and select add tags off to the left here. Let's go over here and start it out with 3-point field goal miss. And again, I'm just going to come in here and do this for all of the buttons. So we'll do this one as 3-point field goal make. 2-point field goal missed. 2-point field goal make. Let's go with something like, let's go with turnover, block, steal, assist, offensive rebound, defensive rebound. And now let's do free throw miss, and finally free throw make. So now as you can see, we have our manual button for drills built out, and now we have our auto button with a specific event or outcome attributed to these buttons. Now let's go ahead and add specific players to our label button. So for this specific video, let's just go ahead and use the defending national champions from the men's side, the UConn Huskies. So I'm going to come in here and add their roster from last year, and let's go ahead and make sure we add the appropriate names. Now, we don't have a specific roster in front of us, but you just want to make sure that you do indeed type in the right name. For this video, you might notice errors, or you might notice that the names might not be spelled correctly. So it would not be attributed to specific data or tags. So for your own reasoning and for your own purpose, please do make sure that your roster or that you type in the correct player from your specific team. So let's go over here and add some of these players. The first one is Tristan Newton. I'm just going to hit that close button. And as you can see, it'll be added to that specific label button. Now, if I did not like to have his full specific name on there, I can go ahead and add a nickname. Let's say he likes to go by Newt. I could just add him and add Newt. But the importance behind that is that will only be added to that specific button. So it is helpful for the button purpose if you just like to see Newt on there. But you do want to make sure that you do have his specific full name spelled out before you add a specific nickname, just so that the specific data and information will be added to him correctly. So let's go over here. I'm just going to make sure that or not make sure, but I'm just going to go ahead and add his name back in here. So I want to have his full name on the specific button. So Let's go ahead and go over here to our next player here. Joey Calcaterra. So now, as you can see, we've built out our own custom tagging template. We've added our specific drills. We've added our specific auto buttons with specific events. And now we've added our players within our label button, all attributed to our specific show. We did note that this is the Yukon Huskies, so let's go ahead and add some of the Yukon Huskies logos, styles to our specific tagging template. So I'm going to go over here and select our shell to begin with, add tags. This is our team. I'm just going to call it, of course, Yukon Huskies. Just to give myself that team name. I can even drag it a little bit over here to give you a nice clean look here. So let's go ahead and start adding color to these specific buttons. So I'm going to go over here and select 3-point field goal miss. I'm going to select the style button at the very top of the page, select color, and now I'm going to start to attribute specific colors to these buttons just so that I know exactly what that is attributed to. So let's go over here and make this one pink to begin with, blue, green is good there, yellow maybe, orange. Okay, so now you can see all my auto buttons have different colors attributed to that button, just so that when I go in there and click it, I know exactly what I'm looking for, and it'll help me to come in here and select a specific button. So now let's add a nice logo to the background of our Yukon Husky template. So I'm going to select my shell, and I'm going to select the image drop down at the very bottom. I'm going to hit the select the plus button, and now I'm going to come in here and select a specific Yukon logo. Now, as you can see, that pops up nicely in the background. If I wanted to add any sort of background to the canvas, I could. Maybe I could add that as white. Black obviously would be clean as well. But let's go over here and make this I'm gonna keep it, let's keep it white. For this specific video, we'll keep it white. And now I'm gonna come in here and add specific images to our players as well. So since we already have our players built out and tagged into those specific label buttons, let's go over here and select our button for the label and I'll add an image. And now I'm just selecting images that I downloaded and that I can add to these specific players. So we have Newton up first. So we'll just go over here and select Newton. And now I can just start to, I'm going to add this with a little bit of an outline just so that it pops. Maybe the red might not be the best look. You can always mess around. Maybe a nice gray would look good. Maybe a dark gray. Go with it. Let's go with this gray right here. As you can see, we created a Yukon template for the men's team from the national championship team last year. We have all of our players with some nice photos, a nice button, a nice border attributed to them. I have specific outcomes. So if we have this during a scrimmage and or during specific drills, I can come in here and attribute some of that data. And of course, we did indeed add our defensive drills within our specific shells. So now that I have this practice template built out, maybe this is specifically for drills, I can go over here and create something similar for scrimmages as well. I'm just going to come over here and select my specific Yukon shell here, Control C. And now I'm going to do the same thing and select Control V. It's just going to give me that specific template and that specific shell that I just selected over here. And I'm going to come over here and just create essentially a team. So let's say this was, team white versus team blue. I could come over here and start to add some of these players to this specific team. So let's just go over here and start to add some of these players. Again, right over here. So let's say we have these players over here versus those players over there. Certainly, move these over just to give it a little bit of a cleaner look. And now I'm going to select my shells and make sure I label the teams as, team white, team navy, team red, whatever you want. So let's go Yukon white. And then I'm going to make this one Yukon blue. Now, even if I wanted to, I could change the background of this specific shell. So we have white currently. If I wanted to make this, see if I can get a nice close color to the Yukon, maybe around there would look good. But now, as you can see, I have Yukon blue versus Yukon white. And now I can start to add those specific buttons within the two teams. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to drag a 3-point field goal miss right over here between the two. 3-point field goal make, maybe move these up a little bit. Same thing for 2. Let's go free throw next. Free throw miss, free throw make. We could go, actually, let's go assist, turnover, offensive rebound, defensive rebound, steal, block, free throw miss, and free throw make. So now, lastly, I will go in here and just show you how to add a specific possession for each of these buttons. But as you can see, I do have a Yukon white with drills if I wanted to use drills to begin with. But now I have two teams built out with different players, and I have the different results between the two. And now I'm ready to go in here and start adding a specific possession buttons and go ahead and start adding anything that I want to go ahead and start tagging. So let's go ahead and draw in some manual buttons here at the bottom. So I'm going to draw a manual button here, and I'm just going to do Control C and Control V. We can use this the blue over there, but maybe we want to make this white for Yukon white. Certainly go ahead and do that. And now I'm going to make sure that these are specific possessions. So I'm going to come over here to tags, add tags. Just go over here and possession clip. Close that off. Oops. I'm going to add a nickname. Of course, we could just do Yukon White. Do the same over here. Add tags, user tag, possession clip. Close out of that. Add a nickname, Yukon Blue, for that specific team. So now, as you can see, we have our specific Yukon White, Yukon Blue, and now maybe I want to just add a couple more things to this. Maybe a specific, like a foul would be a good one. And I want to make sure that these specific buttons are exclusively linked so that only one is on at a specific time. So let's go over here and just add, I'm going to do one more auto button right here, draw it down the middle. Let's go over here and select add tags. We can make this foul like we were saying. Close out of this. Let's make sure that I did not make a foul here. I did not. So let's select this one more time. I'm going to change the color. Maybe we can make this, yeah, we'll just go with that, with a light yellow. Just draw this right here in the middle between the two. And now I'm going to make sure that these are exclusively linked. So I'm going to select my Yukon White button here, select my drop menu. And I'm going to come over here to properties. And now I'm going to select my link drop down, and I'm going to make sure that it's exclusively linked to Yukon Blue. So now, as you can see, I have an arrow that shows from one button to the other. They will be exclusively linked so that if Yukon Blue is on, Yukon White is off. And that will be the way that this will be used when you go in and tag a specific scrimmage. And of course, you can add that foul button that I just added so that it's nice and easy between the two possession clips. That'll do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please come back and check out other videos for some other helpful tips and tricks.